Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm going to help you sing and perform more like the top artists around the world. I'm a professional voice teacher, performance coach, and opera stage director. I've helped thousands of singers around the world learn the techniques and methods that got the top singers to where they are. Let's talk about what makes Jona's performance of Somewhere Over the Rainbow so awesome. Here we go.
Good evening, Asian TV Awards. My name is Jona. I hope you like this song. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
Okay, a few things to point out. Number one, you're noticing the up two smile happening up there. That ass bass and back, it's keeping the sound nice and forward. Really calm, relaxed, welcomes the audience out. She's wearing this white dress, keeps our attention on her because it's the hottest color up on stage. It really draws our attention. And because she has a warmer skin tone than that white, it doesn't make her disappear. It gives us some depth. We're usually with white, it can be a little risky of a color, especially white, because it can really flatten things out. It actually works wonderfully for her. You'll also notice that her hand gestures are relatively smooth, calm, relaxed. You aren't seeing a lot of tension there. And so that makes us feel relaxed and comfortable. We can just kind of ease into listening to this song, feel good about it, and it sounds lovely. Let's see what else we got.
That I heard of once in the lullaby. Somewhere.
Okay, you hear that somewhere, that some. This collapsed into an position in the back. Little more collapse, little more It's on the lower note, so it worked. It got us a little bit of warmth. And it's right before she went to the high note, we saw this ass shape get into place, which let her smoothly transition into that higher place. Sweet.
Really do come true.
One of the things that would make this song really hard is knowing what to do with your hands, right? What do I do? I mean, there's not really a lot of action. It's a really calm song. How do I just not stand there and do nothing and be boring? Is she boring here? No, I don't think she's boring at all. I think she's very engaging. I think it's important to notice what she's doing with her hands. That let us believe that she means what she's saying and she's staying engaged. She's using her hands in a way that's very conversational for the most part. They aren't necessarily indicating to somewhere over the rainbow, right? We're not seeing those kind of gestures way up high. None of that. What she is she's just using her hands like an everyday person would be if they were just talking with someone. If she was just sharing this and saying this to her friend, what would her hands be doing? My guess is they'd be pretty similar to what she's doing here. You can practice this today just by observing the people around you, what they do with their hands, how they use their hands, where their hands rest, then trying to recall those things when you get up to perform and your mind wants to get into kind of this formal deer in the headlights, do nothing or get fidgety thing. Just recall those things that you observed and try to let your hands do those things that happen just like they do in normal speech.
Someday I'll wish upon the star and wake up when the clouds are far behind me, so far away.
Okay, you'll notice when she's walking across the stage, she took really nice long steps. That increases the status of this person singing. Just think about it. When a bride or a king walks or a queen walks down the aisle, they take really long, slow steps, right? Now, the little servant, maid, or waiter, or whoever scurries around and has really short, fast steps. So by her taking these nice, long, strolling steps, letting the rest of her body come along for the ride and stay relaxed and comfortable, gives us visual variety, but it also helps us relax and believe that she's confident, which I believe she really is, and that just makes everything much more pleasant to watch and be a part of. So, if you're on stage and you have to move, don't try to move in tempo to the beat. Don't try to make it super consistent. Just walk, and walk as if you're confident and comfortable, or at least in the way that the person saying these words with the emotion of this music would walk. That's all we're looking for. Really, what we're trying to do on stage is capture real life and just do it with song and singing as part of this real organic world, and not try to have some weird formalized, overly stiff, rigid, proper way of doing it. If the music calls for it, then that's a different story. But for most of what we're talking about, it should seem as natural, organic, everyday as possible. Why is it so hard then we get up on stage then? Well, part of it is because for most people, we go into fight or flight and anxiety and stress hits, and our body does all kinds of weird stuff when that hits. Or you might also be able to blame it on singing being an activity that lights up both hemispheres of the brain more than most activities, and so maybe that engages our body in a different way. Regardless, our audience needs to see someone who looks like a real person in an imaginary situation. So our goal as performers is to be very observant of everyday real life and make sure that we are integrating music and our body language into something that is as close to that and genuine and authentic to that as possible. Okay, is she pushing those top highest notes? No. She's keeping that breath flow consistent. She's keeping the space in the back of her mouth nice and open. She's keeping that placement forward. And she's letting her voice go where it needs to go. She's pulling it back a little bit in terms of placement and giving a little bit more breath to it to soften it up there so it's not as piercing, not ringing as much. And that's great. In this moment, if she did, it wouldn't really match the words of fly and rainbows in the air. It'd just be a little too piercing. But when she comes down there, you'll also notice that when she drops that jaw and really opens this space, there's a place where all of a sudden it really starts to ring. We get all kinds of other more intense overtones, right? A lot of singers will call it the sweet spot or the pocket. There's a lot of different terms, but really it just feels like you get there. It's really resonant with no effort here, and it's just making really great sounds. You'll notice that when she hits those pockets, that jaw's released, that tongue's forward, this ass space is in place, the teeth are out, the breath is staying nice and consistent, and that's when we're getting it. Does that mean the other times are wrong or bad? No. She's got a mic, they're different sounds, and because she hits these at more emotionally intense moments, it reads as more intense. It gives us this emotional roller coaster that we're looking for, right? So that's another big difference between pop and opera. Opera, you have to stay in that ringing spot all the time. You've got to stay there. There are very few exceptions when you can't. And when we're talking about pop, rock, metal, we can come out of that pocket. We can sing in different parts of our voice, get a wider variety of sound. It's not as stringent because we have this mic in front of our mouth that will carry the sound. over the recording, over the band, over whatever we're listening to. So does that make one style sing better than the other? They just have different priorities and values. With opera, they have to sing over an orchestra, usually without a mic. And so they've got to keep that ringing and that ping going, because otherwise we won't hear them, and then what's the point of them singing at all? Here, they can get away with not doing it. The big question of if someone's doing something right or wrong, good or bad, is what is it doing here in your throat? Can you sing so that it's comfortable, so that it just feels open and free and easy, like you could do it all day long? Or does it feel like there's tension, stress, tickling, like you're losing your voice? If it's this latter group of things and you're losing your voice, it's getting tired and fatigued and uncomfortable, then it doesn't matter what you sound like in the style genre, it's probably not something you want to keep doing. And if you have professional aspirations to really do this in a tour and do it day after day after day after day after day, sometimes 2 times a day, plus a morning interview, then you can't afford to be singing with it tight and tense and uncomfortable, because then you're going to end up damaging your voice, hurting yourself, or just having to cancel a lot of events because you can't sing it. You're too tired. So taking the time to really make sure that your voice is working efficiently, that you are singing in a way that you can sing day after day, show after show, still feel good and comfortable, even when you're not feeling at your best, is really, really crucial to the performer who wants to be around year after year after year. And that is an option that's open to everyone. We can sing healthily in a large variety of genres and styles and methods, still have it be safe and comfortable, but we have to make the effort to make that happen. Here, what I'm hearing sounds gorgeous. Sounds like she can do this day after day after day, keeping it easy, keeping it simple, and do show after show after show. It just is a really lovely voice. Gorgeous.
If birds fly, oh, the rainbow wide, the listen.
Okay, so you're going to notice there, the earlier section before she really got to this more intense section, she let it just float up there nice and soft. Then you watch her go from low and slide all the way up to the top, keeping this forward placement, keeping the ab position in place, and keeping it really connected, right? Different colors, different moments. Love the contrast. It gives us a feeling of growth and intensity and emotional connection. Really, really cool. For those of you who are trying to figure out how to mix, how to bridge that gap so it just sounds smooth like this. Again, the keys are doing exercises just like that. Just slide from down up to the top, sliding all the way, hitting all the little teeny notes in between. If it has a big ka-chunk, make sure that it's not that you're jumping a bunch of notes, but you're really taking your time and sliding up really slow and keeping that placement consistent, ideally forward, keeping this ass space in position if that's the sound you're going for. But for the most part, for most people, it's going to help you transition through that easier. Keeping the abs suspended and open, keeping that breath flow consistent, and keeping it speech-like and as simple as possible. Not trying to push, not trying to work harder at that high note, just trying to stay open and flexible and relaxed and speech-like. If you'll do that, you'll probably find that you're going to find this really smooth, consistent transition from the bottom to the top. If you're trying to do it and it's just frustrating, I get it. You probably should be working with a teacher so that they can be guiding you along and pointing out what's going on. And because a lot of times when we're trying to do this, it's like a juggling match. We fix one thing and another thing falls. Then we fix the thing that fell, and then the other thing then disappears. So having someone outside of us to be able to coach us through that and point out what's changing and what's happening can alleviate a lot of the frustration that can come in trying to figure this out on your own. But if you're persistent and make that goal and try to do what we've been talking about here, it should help.
Have a pleasant evening to all of you.
What a charming performer. Absolutely lovely. Great voice. Lots of contrast. Lots of good sounds being made. Really consistent and expressive. Comfortable on stage. Confident. Carries her body. Uses her entire body to communicate the message of the song and to reach out to the audience and bring them on in. Lovely. If you want a voice lesson or performance coaching or want me to work with you or your group to help you sing easier, perform at a consistently higher level, book a time with me at mrperformingartstudio.com. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Check out the links down below. See if there's something that might help you sing even easier. You can also find me on wizio.com if you want a short little snippet reaction to whatever you're singing or doing. I look forward to working with you online.